Here is the line. It is very, very close.
It is a course record.
Well, his connections have been tearing their hair out after that.
Thrilling finish to this.
He certainly rides like he's in the prime of his life.
And what a finish.
Hello, welcome to this week's edition of World Focus. Well, we're going to look back at a momentous week. It's probably an understatement to call it a momentous week at Ascot. It's probably a week that we will savour for the rest of the year. I'm delighted. Dave Scott's joining me again from AfricanBettingClan.com to discuss the week. Davey, a week to remember. I mean, an absolute week to remember and a huge fillip for racing.
Dave, it was incredible. Sometimes you look forward to something and you say it's going to be the greatest show on earth, but really it was. From the start to the finish, every day was a highlight, and it was an absolute pleasure to watch the coverage that we've seen on TV as well. It was outstanding.
Yeah.
It was really great stuff, great stuff.
Now let's talk first about Frankel, because, you know, 147 rating now, everyone's saying the best horse they've ever seen. Even Peter Moody, Black Caviar's trainer, saying, oh, I'm glad I came over, not for so much for Black Caviar, but to watch Frankel win. Now, go back 2 years, and when we were talking in the same sort of big terms, not quite as big, about See the Stars. Now, you know, suddenly we've got a rush of really good horses.
That's right, Dave. And I must admit, as you say, it got the highest rating of a horse ever, including the Mulreefs, the Brigadier Gerards, and it deserved it.
Yeah.
And I believe it lost a shoe inside the last 100 metres, and that's why it veered a bit to the right. So an incredible time, an incredible performance.
Yeah. Interesting you should mention Mulreef, because a couple of people asked me, said, well, who was the best horse you've seen? I said, oh, Mulreef, without a doubt, that I saw in the flesh. And of course, he won the Derby and he won the Arc, and he was a great horse. I haven't seen Frankel in the flesh, but you know, when you watch that race, you thought, is this really happening? Yeah. And there it was, and certainly the best bet of the whole week. Never mind putting the two horses together, Frankel and Black Caviar. The best bet was the bookmakers betting on the distance. Who will win the further, Frankel or Black Caviar? And we said, we're talking to Angus in the UK, put your house on Frankel, and it proved correct.
It was a better bet, Dave, obviously with a longer distance as opposed to the sprint, and Black Caviar did get up, but we can probably discuss that later.
Yeah.
It was very nerve-wracking for the pension.
Okay, yeah, you're certainly right about that. Let's talk first about Frankel's possible future objectives. I think you've got a few ideas there from the website.
Well, I did have a look, David. I would reckon its next race will be the Sussex Stakes, you know, which will be in the August the 1st. He's already been priced up 1 to 5. Yeah. So I don't see there being any clash against Camelot or anything like that materialising. I think Camelot will probably go the other route. The Irish Derby is easy to pick up in the next couple of weeks. I think it's about 1 to 4 for the Irish Derby. And then it's got the St. Leger. 6 to 10 for the St. Leger, and then potentially going on to the Arc, where it'll meet some decent opposition in France. Again, it's 4 to 1 favourite for that. So that looks like the Camelot route. And Frankel, easy pickings, and I'm not sure if it'll go anywhere else. It's not written in blood yet, but that looks like as though Frankel will also stay clear.
Say he went for the Sussex and possibly the Juddmonte, but he probably wouldn't go for both, because the Juddmonte's, what, 2 weeks?
They're pretty close together.
2 weeks after, isn't he, at York. Do you think that'll be it? Do you think that he'll be retired?
Look, they obviously want to get this horse away to stud as quickly as possible and keep its unbeaten record.
But we don't. We want to see more of it. We want to see more. You want to see more of Federer. You want to, you know, this sort of thing, you know.
It was the same last year with See the Stars. We were all dying for it to have another season. Same with not Zenyatta, but Zarkava. Yeah, the previous year. You want these horses to keep in training, but unfortunately the stud value is so great, the temptation just to pack them off unbeaten. Camelot will be the same. I'm sure if it can get through its season, it'll be off to stud as well.
Yeah. So. Now, how much has this horse done for the sport of horse racing?
Well, fantastic. I mean, as I mentioned, it would be on Sky News. It was headline Sky News. And
it pushed Euro 2012 off the front page, didn't it?
Especially when the English get beat.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Dave. But that's what's great for horse racing. It's a brilliant time for our sport. And we must try and milk it and get as much press and as much coverage as possible to to the masses that are not already converted.
That's right.
That's it.
Then we saw in the middle of the week, So You Think, another Australian champion, and he won in pretty good style.
Again, very good. There seem to have been problems with the horse, as far as I gather, and O'Brien now admits he's going the right way with the horse. So that's another horse that'll be
After going the wrong way.
After going the wrong way,
Which the Irish are not first to admit,
and
usually.
and it's back to its best. And I don't know if you noticed the run from Far, the Tories Mount, F-A-H-R. That run a brilliant race, Dave, and it's one to follow for sure.
Let's go on to Black Caviar, because the whole week was really centred around bringing the curtain down with her in that Diamond Jubilee Stakes. And what were your thoughts coming into that final 50 metres? I mean, here is this guy basically not dropping the reins, but doing that and saying the race is over. Now, I said all along, Midnight Cloud, Freddie Head had said, this better be good because we're not bad and we're a Group 1 winner, Moonlight Cloud. And Moonlight Cloud's nearly got her.
Yeah, you were on the button there, Molly. I must say it was a very close second, but that last 100 metres, I'm not sure what went through the jockey's brain. We've had reports that the horse did have a torn muscle and it was in a bit pain. But I honestly think he thought the line, that he'd already passed the line, because he did drop his hands and then he picked it up again, and fortunate for, well, most of the punters who went for the big all to comes, it got up in the line, you know. So, and to be fair to the horse, it's travelled all this way. It's done the business, David. 22 from 22. It's going back undefeated, and I'm actually delighted, you know. And it'll leave the UK now and go back to Australia. And I'm not sure if it'll run again, but presumably the plan was to pick up a few rich Australian races as well, and then enjoy her retirement.
But when you think about it, she had a lot of racing coming into this race. I mean, I joked with the press boys in Singapore. I said, is she running this week, or is she running Wednesday, Saturday as well? In other, you know, she had a lot of racing coming into this race, and which you would never have got from a UK trainer at all.
No, that's for sure.
But she was out at various race courses, some sort of quite obscure race courses, Davey, and she won, and she was wonderful. It was almost like she did a sort of an Australian tour, like it's almost farewell tour, which is wonderful for racing. But I reckon that towards the end of that Ascot race, she looked like she'd had enough.
Yeah, no, you're quite right, Molly. I mean, she did everything possible. Just when she was ready to stop, she just picked up and put her head forward, and that was wonderful. And I'm so glad that she actually keeps her unbeaten record, you know.
So they'll take her back. She'll get a wonderful reception when she gets there, won't she? I mean, the Aussies that were into Federation Square, they said there was 10,000 in Federation Square at 1 o'clock in the morning in Melbourne. Well, there must have been a few the old heart attacks there, wasn't there?
I seen them crossing over. They actually crossed over on the TV, and you could see the whole place was just a bit silent till the official photo came through, and then it just held on, you know.
Yeah,
so.
but Aussies, you know, they do the sporting hero as well. They'll do her well when she gets back to the country there.
There'll be a few statues over the country for Black Caviar,
they're talking that like she's. They had Makybe Diva, of course. That wasn't long ago. That was 2005, and she won 3 Melbourne Cups, which was outstanding. But they're actually saying that she's the best since Farlap. Farlap. Even we weren't born in Farlap's day.
No,
and
that's
you know, and that was what 1930s. So we've perhaps seen in 1 week 2 equine stars that you and I will never see in our lifetime again.
No, that's for sure, David. And it was just the perfect week because the Queen had a winner.
Yeah.
That helped Ryan Moore pick up the Jockey Championship, and for Ascot at least. And everything went to par. You had the winner of the Gold Cup, Molly. That was
wonderful.
Tory changing his mind.
Colour vision.
Colour vision. He jumps off a pinion pole. And did you see that race? Yeah. Did you see the bump? And I thought, he's not going to lose it because it's a half a length. But
you sent me an SMS. You said, "Well done. Is he going to keep the race?" Which was a very good point because it was a stewards' inquiry straight away as they went past the post. But the point about Colour Vision, tough horse, had been previously been with Mark Johnson up in Yorkshire there, up on the hills. They make them strong.
Solid.
You know, they're solid horses. They're not going to... He had to be in the first 3 Colour Vision, no doubt about it. And I'm delighted, obviously, that he won because, you know, Angus and I were talking about it and saying, you know, people should have a bet on it. And he was 6-1. So,
it was a good
we're not
place.
talking about 6-4 on or anything, which sort of even So You Think. Talking of which, So You Think, I hear there was, we're doing that, listening to that BBC Two broadcast, there was a bet of even £100,000, So You Think.
So you think that's
Even £100,000.
it was a huge amount. And I'm just looking. It's So You Think as well. It's planned. It's next race, Molly. That's probably going to go to Sandown for the Eclipse on the 7th of July, and it's also been priced up at evens.
Yeah. Davey, we've done Ascot. I just want to bring up another subject here, particularly for your website, which might be of interest. Now, Lance Benson here in last week's Sporting Post goes on, quite rightly in my book, about racing having to pay for coverage on SABC and Supersport. Now, here's what Benson says. He says, the simple truth is that the broadcasters fight over pay for the attention of the oval ball, which is rugby, obviously, while the Sport of Kings racing pays those same broadcasters big money to allow us the privilege of being beamed to their viewership and on a day, big days that suits them. Bloody hell, I say. Now, that's what Benson said. Benson, one of the few unmuzzled writers in this country, he's right on the button here.
No, I have to agree. I've seen the article, Dave. You know, it's a Sporting Post. We also have a link through to it. Excellent articles, and I must say that he's hit on the button.
Yeah, but it's tantamount. This is what it's tantamount to. It's like Manchester United phoning up Sky News and saying, "Hey, we've got the derby on next week. Pop down, and we'll give you a few million."
And we'll give you a few.
It's absolute. Racing has got to demand a much harder view when selling its product. And we have got a good product because we've proved in the last week we've got a great product. We've got obviously those two superstars over there. That has really boosted racing. And we got Jackson. Jackson's now the big talking horse in South Africa. We must sell our product better, and lunacy, as Benson says, lunacy, that we have to pay broadcasters money for the pleasure of them showing our sport. Our sport.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Dave. Honestly, we love the game, and and that's it's so sad that we are actually on that side. It's just, but we're going to get there, Molly. That's for sure. We're going to get there, especially as you say with this last week. Yeah, we'll keep promoting and pushing like wherever we can. You know?
Davey, very kind of you to come us for these 2 weeks. Thanks very much indeed. I'm sure we'll see lots of more of you on World Focus, and thanks for your input. It's been a memorable, as I said, a memorable 2 weeks. We'll look back on this week when we do the action replays at the end of the year. We'll say we only want to see 1 week. We want to see that Ascot week. Davey, thank you very much. Thanks very much to Dave Scott there, AfricanBettingClan.com, an expert in his field here, and well done for him to joining us for the past fortnight.